Good morning, good people, brothers, sisters, and beautifully defiant siblings in the movement. Welcome to the unapologetic voice of labor, equity, and action. This is CWA Our Power Radio Show, where we amplify the organizers, uplift the everyday workers, and honor the giants whose shoulders we stand on right here on KYOK 1140 AM and the all-new 106.5 FM in the heart of Houston, Texas. If you're rolling through H-Town or just fired up anywhere in the world, stream us live on kyokradio.org or the CWA Strong app, or catch the replay anytime by searching CWA Hour of Power on your favorite podcast platform. Because this space, this time, it's about us. That's right, it's about us. We are talking union contracts, organizing victories, labor rights, human dignity, fair pay, and bold everyday resistance to injustice in every form. So whether you're on the job, in your car, at your kitchen table, or deep in the fight, lean in, honk your horns if you stand with workers, throw up a fist if you know your worth. Joining me today are the fire starters and the truth tellers, Mikeya Jones, Sir Reginald Small, Timmia Wiley, Tay Akins. So buckle up, beloveds, because the power we build together, that power is ours. Let's get into it. Our union voices are ringing in every district from Alaska to Maine, Texas to Minnesota, Canada to Puerto Rico, because we don't play at CWA. Our union brothers, sisters, and siblings at the Pittsburgh
Hey,
Post-Gazette
Precious,
have
this is
been
Timmia calling from
outside
the
for
email
34 months striking on the picket lines. And yet, while they're striking, they're still churning out the news with facts for you and me. Let's show our support to them by making sure we subscribe to unionprogress.com. And once you subscribe to this free publication, how about going over and donating to their strike fund at cwa.org/PPG donate. And I just heard someone in the background shout, when we fight, we win. That was old Timmia Wiley. Now, family, before we dive into today's labor, human rights, and civil rights conversations, we want you to grab your tea and let's sip a while, because it's time for Tea with Tay. And so today's flavor is citrus fire. So sit back as Tay pours you a hot cup of citrus fire. Good morning, Tay.
Good morning, Errol. Good morning, KYOK listeners, and good morning to my union family. You're tuned into CWA, Our Power Radio, where we speak truth to power and remind you our labor is our legacy. I'm Tay, and this is Tea with Tay, where the tea might be hot, but it's always brewed with truth. And today, I'm not sipping alone. I got my people with me. I got Reginald Smalls, Mikeya Jones, Timmia Wiley, and one and only Errol Minor. So, hey, family.
Good
Hey, Tay.
morning.
All right, y'all. Today's topic is pass the torch while it's still lit. We're talking about gatekeeping, grassroots leadership, and why we can't keep the flame to ourselves. Too many times we hold on to the mic, the title, the power, and then wonder why nobody's ready to step up when we finally sit down. The truth is, the next generation can't carry a torch that was never passed to them.
Well, Tay, this is a can be a real delicate subject here this morning, and I'm kind of a little bit on edge because I don't know where you're going with this. With me being the most seasoned person of wisdom here and carrying the most seniority on this show, but I'm gonna try to walk this road with you this morning as best as I can, because I am aware that folks do think that they're protecting the movement by holding things close, but power. That's hoarded. That's hoarded is actually power that lies in the dark, that dies in the dark. So I'm gonna try to walk with you, Tay. Here, we'll see where you're going.
I knew Reggie was gonna say
exactly.
so.
And if you've been listening, Reginald and I go back and forth on this age thing all the time. But for me, it's like, passing the torch doesn't mean stepping aside. It doesn't mean like, retiring, get out the way. It means walking beside each other. It's mentorship. It's gently guiding me right into the place that you are, so I can feel those shoes. I can feel that role while it's still burning. And I think that's what I love the most about Reginald is he and I have the best conversations, and we meet each other in the middle, or we try to find some type of common ground or commonality when it comes to the difference in our age groups and our generations and how things move along.
I agree.
Yes. So I know this is a touchy subject, but it's one that we will definitely have, and we have different age groups on here. So I think it'll be a good one for our listeners today. So we want to walk beside, not step beside. That's the message right there, Mikeya.
And since I guess I might be the second oldest on the group.
You definitely are right on my coattail.
Immediately.
All right. So I'm going to come from the aspect of old wisdom. And in the movement, every generation's job was or is to teach the next how to fight smart, speak truth, and organize with purpose. If we don't, that's when we get in trouble. That's when we have chains broken because we are not teaching.
I mean, we can't afford it, especially with what's coming, midterm, local races, all these national fights, all of it. Every bit of progress we've made depends on whether we pass the torch while it's still lit.
You know, this isn't new.
Go on, say it like you want to. This ain't new.
This isn't new. Fannie Lou Hamer didn't wait for permission. A. Philip Randolph didn't gatekeep. And Bayard Rustin didn't hoard his strategy. They shared what they knew, even when it cost them, because they understood movement dies when information becomes inherited instead of instructions.
Mm. Now, this is what my dad always told me. He says, each one teach one. God rest his soul. And it wasn't just a slogan, it was about survival. And that's how we built unions. That's how our civil rights organizations are together. That's how we built whole communities, because each one was teaching one.
Well, and I mean, that's, if we're talking unions, that is actually how unions survive. That's how CWA locals actually survive. If you think about our job stewards, our grievance reps, even our human rights activists, every one of them had someone who showed them or someone who they actually modeled after. I mean, we all have our own stories of who actually called us into action, who actually saw something with us. So it's not a new concept, but we need to embrace it actually more. And I do like that teach one. We are responsible as union leaders, as community leaders, as activists to actually pass something, to give something, not pass it, to share something.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Right. And like you said, power is learned, it's lived, and like you said, it's shared. Because we can't just wait for new leaders to show up ready, right? Like it's our job to skill them. It's our job. Got to train them up. You know, they say got to train them up right.
That's right.
Train them up. And if you're not training them up, what happens when you are made to sit down or called to sit down? Because, and I think that's what happens a lot too. It's like you never realize when it might be the end for you. You never realize when you may fall ill or you may get hurt or something that's going to call you away from the movement.
Right.
And when it happens unexpectedly, you're called away from the movement, there needs to be somebody ready to go in your stead.
Mm.
And it makes me, something comes to mind here, if I may say. Of course, I'm a church boy, and I remember that when the youth choir sang on a particular Sunday, you gave them a Sunday instead of putting them on the main Sunday with the congregation when the church is full. You gave them a Sunday, and people don't come as much because, the youth are going to run the service and they're going to change it. And I noticed that as I go to conferences and conventions and all of that, we have this thing that we want to let the next generation have the mic, but they do it on the third day of the conference instead of sharing the space on the first day of the conference with some of your next generation folks. They're doing it on a different day. So we need to stop putting it in silos. We actually need to merge the two together. We are definitely stronger together, and we need to just rethink the strategy of this torch business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
Mm.
Talk
Well,
about
all
that's
right
a
then,
word.
Mr. Small.
Hello. Good morning. Happy Thursday.
Yes, look like those classes doing him some good out there,
Okay.
huh?
Mhm.
I done rubbed off on you in the right way.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Heard you loud and clear. Okay.
Over there cooking.
Okay.
Right. Let them cook.
So let's talk about what skilling up actually looks like for new people. So we're not talking about somebody with a clipboard or a button. It's teaching them how to move power. So what does skilling new people actually look like?
Come on, Timmia.
I was waiting on her to finish. It's not just handling somebody a clipboard or a button, it's teaching them how to move power. Like showing a new steward how to write the first grievance, not doing it for them.
Oh my God, yes. Or helping a young member lead a meeting, not just sit in one. We have to teach.
Well, and then I think part of that is not criticizing,
No, no.
actually helping develop them to be all that they can be, to actually take them under wing, to to show them the way, stand with them, stand beside them. I mean, it's not that complicated.
Come on, coach.
You're right. It's about turning potential into power before the crisis comes. It's like when you see something in somebody, and I'm about to go off a little bit right here, but when you see something in somebody, it's supporting them and giving them the tools right then and there, like our upcoming MLI. I just got to say it because it just made sense. And we no seriously, and the whole thing about MLI is that you see uh minorities and women and people of color and things like that in your communities that are doing this great work. And it's like, okay, you see the potential in them, send them here to help them get all of those things that we're talking about and help them move forward and become new leaders, stronger leaders, supported leaders, because you can have somebody that has all of that potential. They got all of the ingredients and not the right recipe. And so we need to help them, you know what I'm saying, gain those skills so that they can create what they're meant to create and they can become who they're meant to become. And for me, there's nothing more empowering than seeing somebody grow from a little bit of water that you gave them.
Oh, that is something. So, but now since you done jumped over to MLI, I think it's only right, Mikeya, that you tell us a little bit about what the MLI stands for, who it was named after, and what's going on with
You
MLI.
know what? I would, but Timmia is so much better at that than I am. So I'm gonna let her
He's
have
gonna
it.
pass the buck. You're gonna bring it up and pass the buck.
I see
Okay.
your potential, sis. I saw the potential.
See how you do me.
But
Okay, so the Dennis
basically,
Surratt Minority Leadership Institute.
there you go.
Okay, so it long time ago in the galaxy far, far away, once upon a time when labor unions were segregated. And there was a time when Blacks and people of color were not able to come to union meetings. And then there was a time when Blacks met on a separate night and whites met on another night. And then there was a time when the meetings were integrated, the union halls were integrated. Well, once they were integrated, people of color were not aware of the rules of union hall meetings. So they were getting railroaded. They weren't aware of the quorums or Robert's rules or advanced grievance handling, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's where the Minority Leadership Institute came into play. It was a place where people of minorities and people of color, women could come and they could learn, they could sharpen their skills, and they could learn how to conduct these meetings, how to have a fighting chance in these meetings so that they knew what was going on, how to speak in order, how to move motions, and how to be able to stand up for themselves and have a fighting chance.
Well, that was a good one, Timmia. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Well, all
you.
right then. Somebody hot for MLI, huh?
Mikeya Jones.
Right, because it starts on Sunday, and I'm super excited about it. And I'm super excited about the new group of well, not young, but the new group of leaders that'll be there. I can't wait to just learn and to meet them and everything. So I am excited. I am hot for MLI.
And it is something to be excited about. And it is something that I am proud that CWA still has the Dennis Surratt Minority Leadership Institute. It is something really, really big. And there are so many people who want to be offered that opportunity to attend it because it has a stellar reputation.
Well,
Tay
you
is
know,
one of those
I was
people.
gonna say, since
oh
we're
yeah,
talking
Tay is
about
going,
it,
yeah.
Yeah.
I was
It
letting
was
I'm a
everybody
proud
nominated.
alum of class of 2020.
look at me. I'm over here smiling, letting everybody talk about it because I cannot wait to experience MLI, Dennis Surratt Minority Leadership School. I've been so patient. I hear great things. As a leader in our labor movement, I feel like this is going to take me to another level. And then I also get to be around my union siblings and y'all as well. So it makes me happy to know I'm gonna be seeing y'all real soon.
Right. Come
Well,
on,
We
elevate.
look forward to
but
it.
and
So
Tay,
this is one way. This is one way, Errol, that we're actually building confidence and credibility by sharing the space. MLI is that way, and Tay is a prime example of that.
Yes. And I wanted to say, this is what, when we say pass the torch while it's still lit, this is what I mean. While the information is still hot, it's right there. So just pass the torch while it's still lit. It's
Yep.
not, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say pass the peas like we used to do.
Hey.
You gotta keep it going.
And I was saying, you don't build muscle in the fight. You build it for the fight. So let me ask our listeners something. Who are you teaching? Who's watching you and learning what power looks like? If the answer is nobody, that's your cue. Somebody out there is waiting for your light.
Well,
You have to bring somebody along. Bring somebody with you. It's not hard to bring somebody with you. I remember a long time ago there was this little girl. I shouldn't call her a little girl because she was young and she was spry and she was asking a whole lot of questions, And you know what? I just said, come along and see.
Mm.
And look at her now.
Did she
I was
listen?
asking the right
Did
question.
she listen?
I was right. I was asking a lot of questions, but I was asking the right questions. And she saw my potential because I was asking the right questions. Little girl's crazy though.
I know it because you were just such a little baby to me.
Young woman.
So how do we take this into what's going on now with our elections, Tay, and carrying the flame forward? Well, how do we handle that?
Let's bring it home to what's coming. Midterms, major elections. We're not talking about parties. We're talking about principles. The elections are about who gets seen, who gets heard, who gets served.
And let me go. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tay, because
Oh no, it's you.
If everybody brought somebody with them to the polls, we could double the amount of voters, y'all.
You're absolutely right, Timmia. And that's why workers cannot sit this one out, period. You can't sit this out because when we vote, we don't just check a box. We check injustice as well.
And
Look at how we're look at how. Go ahead, Rich. I'm sorry.
no, Errol, by all means, get that off of your chest.
Look at what we're going through right now. Human rights are being violated everywhere. It feels like some people feel as if they are helpless, and it's like everybody has to seek a day to just go invisible to recharge. You have to go get some sleep and get back up because we're dealing with so much going on all at one time.
Well,
Right.
and
I feel
I
like
believe we've experienced election trauma in some ways. I mean,
PTSD.
Yeah,
Why?
some people don't even want to talk about elections right now, but we got to go back to the basics and really understand voting is actually labor power. That is the power that labor has. Every ballot is a tool of collective bargaining with democracy itself.
You know what? I'm glad you said that because I almost missed an election, y'all, and I was gonna be devastated. I did miss it. I'm a month early, but I almost missed it because the school board elections are on November 4th. But I was like, you know what? I'm like, something just in my spirit told me to go to the Board of Elections website and just check to see what's going on in my local community. And a lot of people don't do that. Again, we talk about this all the time where we only vote, or not we, but the majority only votes during the federal elections. And by that time, I personally feel like it's too late because your local elections and the people that are actually in your state are what's controlling what you deal with every single day because of the way that our democracy is set up for now. So it's, for now. So it's extremely important to be privy to what's going on locally when you can. So, like I said, it is the election day is November 4th. I was a little bit early, but they do have early voting. So as soon as we get back next week from DSMLI, I will be going to do my early vote for the local school board around here because I live in this community. My child goes to school in this community, and it's super important to be not only an activist, globally or nationally, whatever, but just in my local community where I am every day.
Right. So it is important to show up at the voting booth. It's important, but it's also important to have an educated vote. So people don't know who they can vote for or what's at stake when they skip names on on the ballot. They don't know what's at stake. So it's very important that we educate everyone as far as what it means to actually check off the names on your ballot and know who you're voting for. I'm not going to lie to you. It was a time where I was like, I don't know what any of this mean. I'm voting for judges and I'm voting for all of it. But to me at the time, it was like, does this really matter? But it does. It
Mm-hmm.
does. So
Well,
don't waste your vote.
and it's all of our duties. I mean, we're activists. I mean, once you get through the endorsement process of whomever you're going to be promoting or help supporting, it is our duties to go back to the basics. I mean, dinner table conversations, talk about it when you see your cousins or your family members
Mm-hmm.
and tell them the importance of voting in the local elections. And not only the importance of voting, it's okay to have a discussion about the candidates. I know that's taboo now that it's such a division amongst us, but I still support it is okay to have a decent, intelligent discussion about the candidates you're supporting and why you think that we're supporting them and why it's so important for labor. It is still okay, you people who think that everything is technology, it is still okay to block walk and to knock on doors in your community where you are received and that you have a good reputation and to share paper information. Remember that stuff, paper and a Xerox machine? It's okay to still share that stuff. It's okay to pick up, remember the telephone and do phone banking and text banking. We still need that stuff. A city councilman came and knocked at my door, and yes, I still open my door. Probably not the safest thing to do, but I opened the door, and now I actually have a personal relationship with him, and I expect him to answer his phone because I opened my door to him. I expect him to answer my call when I call him, and I put him to the test, and he did. So this stuff still works, people.
Now
Yes.
you have me until you said the paper thing. As an environmental activist, I'm not cool with the paper, but I'm cool with everything else. Just bring your iPad and then have everything on the iPad or the phone. Don't do the paper. We got to save the trees and our environment. But everything else he said is right on.
I still like
Everything
to read my
cannot
paper.
everything cannot be behind a screen. And it is okay to have these personal relationships with people. And while we're talking about that, I'm gonna segue a little bit because you said
All
that
right, segue.
we're gonna segue a smidge. and get on to another topic that we were going to discuss when it comes to just having those conversations and things that are taboo. And we talked about this previously, and we're going to start talking about it again. And we have to stop accepting and allowing and normalizing things that are meant to divide us and to keep us apart, right?
Yes.
So when people say that things are taboo or we shouldn't do them, a lot of the times there's a bigger picture, something that's nuanced that we're not seeing there because they don't want us to communicate and they don't want us to share that information. And so just speaking of that, like with politics, like why is it taboo to have a like whoever wins these nominations, right, in these positions, they're going to affect all of us. So why is it taboo to have the conversation about somebody that's going to affect all of us? Same way where we talk about in workplaces where people say it's taboo to talk about your pay. If you and I are doing the same job, why is it taboo to talk about how much we're being paid for the same work? If we're both using the bathroom, why is it taboo to talk about how we're going to run our bathrooms in our situations? If all of our children go to the same school, why is it taboo for us to discuss who we're voting for, who we're putting on the school board, and how they're going to affect our children? We have to stop normalizing divisive behaviors and calling them taboo or politically incorrect. We need to be able, we need to be okay to have conversations and differences of opinions on things that's going to affect all of us. Because, like you said, when we stay in these different silos and these different sections and groups and factions, that's how the divide and attack strategy works. Like, look at where we are now. I don't know how y'all feel, but I feel like I'm about to be in some type of dystopian film like The Hunger Games or Divergent or Handmaid's Tale, where everybody is separated into a certain particular kind of role, and that's all you can do. The way the society is collapsing and the way that our freedoms are being taken away from us is because we were so divided. And not just this last election, but then the last few elections, because we were not voting in our interests, we weren't talking to each other, and we were too busy picking sides based on what we believe to be true or what we believe to be correct for us personally and not us overall, because we weren't having conversations. So it's super important for us to have these conversations so we don't end up worse than where we are right now.
So, since you went there, do you believe that we were not having conversations, or do you believe that we're facing where people are numb to the conversations? They're no longer listening because it was such an exhaustive cycle with with the elections. Because we were having conversations. Some of us worked very, very hard, including you, worked very, very hard with these conversations. But are they not listening? There is no one place to get information now. So media, I mean, you ask and I've been putting people to the test. And I ask them, where are you getting your information from? Are you listening to, oh, I don't watch the news. Oh, it's too much for me. I don't do this. So what are you looking at on that phone? Because you're holding your phone all the time. So I don't know. What are you looking at? Something entertaining?
Could
While
be,
the
right?
world is smoking?
Burning. Okay, so I'm going to go back to your first question, right? So the first question, I believe, it's a culmination of things. There's a myriad of things. So I do believe that we were having the conversation, right? But
Yes.
I do believe that for me, and just the way that things looked, it felt like we were having conversations. Like I feel like the conversations aren't broad, right? I feel like we were having conversations, but the conversations were still siloed. Like you said, the way that the media is set up now or things that are run now, it's still like certain news channels, right? They have a certain demographic and a certain particular type of person that they feed.
Yes,
So
always.
people are having conversations, but we're not reaching across the aisle. We're not having like a meeting of the minds. We're not having a good gumbo where it's all the different opinions and everything coming together. It's people having conversations with like-minded people, people that are already in those same realms. And I don't feel like we're reaching the other kind of people that we need to be reaching. So I do feel like, we're trying, and we tried really hard. Like you said, I worked personally really, really hard to get out there and to get accurate information to people. But I do feel like we've been in a situation for years that we didn't recognize, in my opinion, until it was too late and siloed. People have gotten opinions about candidates and about people and about parties based on just maybe one or two different like points or positions. And we talk about like women's reproductive rights. Some people are so stuck on how they feel about women's reproductive rights and how that is associated with religion, how for some reason we take the science and we take the religion and we combine them, even though that's something that we say we don't do in government. But people prey on that and they tap into that. And so it doesn't matter what what else the candidate is talking about. It doesn't matter what other kinds of nonsensical things that they talk about or that they do or that they spew. That one particular thing, right, is what drives people or what moves people, and it separates us, right? So no matter how many things we have in alignment, how many things that we have that are common, or how many commonalities that we have, it's that one thing that divides us, and we stop meeting and we stop having those conversations. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know how exactly we can move forward or get there, but I feel like that's the fierce urgency of now for me, is for people to look at things as a broader picture. Because what I've found, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you have noticed that, is that a lot of people have said, oh, well, I didn't vote for that, or I didn't vote for that. And it's like, so you didn't see all these other things that they were running on. You didn't listen to anything else. You only heard one thing. You didn't have any other outside conversations. And I think that's what did us a huge disservice.
Yeah, because some people think we're living single issue lives, and we're not. It's a plethora, it's a conglomerate, it's overwhelming at times, and we have to know how to decipher that. All right, Tay.
Well, y'all was having a really good conversation. And Mikeya, I want you to know that basically you definitely set the tone and you let people know what the problem is right now. So those are those uncomfortable conversations that people don't like to have. So I thank you so much. Uh, so when we were talking about gatekeeping and passing the torch, that also goes into assisting the upcoming and doing things like going out and educating, and also showing them how to phone bank, and also pointing out the divisions and the things that are there to separate us. So that's also part of passing the torch. So again, I'm thanking you, Mikeya, because you said it all in one.
Oh, I love that.
You said it. You
It
said it
feels
all
so
in one.
good to be recognized. Reginald, you could learn. You see, pass the torch. Take pass it to Reginald.
Probably not a good time to pass that to me right now. Mikeya, we were on such good terms.
So let's turn gatekeeping into gate opening. Bring new folks into the fold. Show them the ropes. Trust them with responsibilities. Correct them with care and not criticism. I think you said that, Reginald.
I did. That was profound when I said it too, wasn't it? And I guess the thing, and if they stumble, don't snatch back the torch. Don't throw them away. Help them steady their hand. And
Hey,
that's what makes this movement unstoppable when the flame keeps moving forward.
Right. You got to keep passing that torch.
And that's what makes the movement unstoppable, when the flame keeps moving forward. So before we close, I want us to call it out, because the labor fire burns in every place we stand.
Because
And that's
our
why
power is never silent. Our power is never sold, and our power is union strong. Back to you, Aramana, and Tay. Your tea was delicious. It was hot. My mouth was on fire, and thank you for pouring it this morning.
Thank you, KYOK listeners, and thank you, Reginald. And back to you, Harold, again.
You all are something else this morning. That citrus fire tea did something. So thank you so much, Tay, for bringing that this morning. Now keep that citrus fire burning flavor in your cup, because coming up, we're shining a spotlight on a young leader whose work exemplifies the essence of passing the torch while it's still lit. We're talking about none other than Zanagee Artis, a climate justice activist whose journey from Clinton, Connecticut to the global stage is a testament to the power of youth-led movements. Zanagee co-founded Zero Hour, a youth-led climate justice organization at just 17 years old. Inspired by his childhood experience at Hammond Asset Beach State Park, he witnessed firsthand the impacts of climate change on marine ecosystems. This sparked a passion that led him to organize the 2018 Youth Climate March in Washington, D.C., a pivotal event that mobilized thousands of young people worldwide to demand climate action. But Zanagee's commitment didn't stop there. He recognized that true climate justice requires addressing the systemic issues of colonialism, capitalism, racism, and patriarchy. Under his leadership, Zero Hour has focused on inclusive and restorative climate justice, ensuring that the voices of those most affected by the climate crisis are heard and amplified. Beyond organizing, Zanagee is an advocate for policy change. He served as the acting policy director for Zero Hour and has been involved in campaigns like Vote for Our Future, aiming to increase voter turnout in support of the Green New Deal. His work emphasizes the importance of young engagement in shaping policies that will determine the future of our planet. Zanagee is also an author. In 2021, he co-authored a kid's book about climate change, a resource designed to educate young readers about the climate crisis in an accessible and empowering way. The initiative reflects his belief in the power of education to inspire action and change. Currently, Zanagee serves as the fossil fuels policy advocate at the Natural Resource Defense Council, NRDC, where he continues to push for systemic reforms to combat climate change. His journey is a powerful example of how the next generation is not waiting for change, they are creating it. As we reflect on Zanagee's work, we are reminded of the importance of mentorship and leadership development in our communities. Passing the torch while it is still lit means investing in the leaders of tomorrow. Today, it means recognizing the potential in young people and providing them with the tools, support, and opportunities to lead. Artis is not just a climate activist, he is a beacon of hope, a reminder that the fight for justice is ongoing and that the future is in capable hands. His story encourages us to all take action to mentor and to ensure that the torch of justice continues to burn brightly for generations to come. You're listening to KYOK 1140 AM and the all-new 106.5 FM. If you're on the go, you can take us with you by visiting kyokradio.org and pressing the listen live option. Tune in live every Thursday at 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific on kyokradio.org, the CWA Strong app, or your favorite podcast player, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, Amazon Music. Search for CWA Hour of Power on your favorite podcast player. Up next, we have Awareness with Mikeya Jones. Good morning, Mikeya.
Good morning, Errol. Good morning again, everyone. So I'm going to talk about mental health in our union families, in our workplaces, and World Mental Health Day. You know what? I really needed this segment today because let me tell you, this week that I've had, I am outdone. I am overdone. I am burnt. I am undercooked, honey. By Tuesday, I was just to the roof with the with the whole week. And it's just it has been a doozy, I'll say. And it's been a lot. And it started, things started rough. I had to go to the urgent care this week with my son. I shaved off half my eyebrow while dermaplaning. I've had a long work week. And I've really had to stop and get my mental health together. So as I mentioned, tomorrow, October 10th, is World Mental Health Day. And we're going to take a moment to talk about something that affects each and every one of us, again, which is mental health. And it's time to break the stigma, start the conversation, and remember that taking care of our mind is just as important as taking care of our bodies. Whether you're on the job, at home, in your community, your mental well-being matters. And it affects our union family too. And mental health challenges are real and they're everywhere. And, like I said, I was so busy and so focused and pouring into all of these different things. And I was telling them earlier, I had forgotten to eat. I hadn't eaten in 24 hours and didn't even realize it until somebody mentioned breakfast this morning. And that's not how we should move through our day. And that's not how we take care of ourselves. And that's not how we take care of our minds. And so, as working people in these workplaces, we face stresses from long hours, low pay, the pressure to make ends meet, dealing with our coworkers and their life problems. And then for marginalized communities, these challenges are compounded by systemic inequities, discrimination, and barriers to care. So the numbers speak for themselves. According to the National Alliance on Mental Health, 1 in 5 adults experience mental illness each year. And yet many workers, especially those in marginalized communities, don't have access to the resources they need. And here at CWA, we understand that strong unions support strong minds, and that includes mental health resources, counseling, and peer support, because when our members thrive, our communities thrive. So let's talk about how work affects our mental health. Constant stress, job insecurity, workplace harassment, and other things can lead to anxiety, depression, and burnout. And for those of us working in essential services or healthcare, the pressure can feel overwhelming. And, union support can make a difference. Negotiating fair work hours, access to paid leave, mental health coverage, and safe reporting systems are all ways unions can protect your mind as well as your body. So remember, taking care of your mental health isn't a sign of weakness. It's an actness of strength. So check in with yourself, talk about it, access your resources, do self-care, and advocate for yourself at work. And here's a reminder, if you or someone you know is in crisis, call or text 988, which is a suicide and crisis lifeline. Help is available and you are not alone. And call to action your union family. As we recognize World Mental Health Day, let's remember our union is community. Supporting each other isn't optional, it's essential. And like I said, I really needed this today. Like I had plans to just sit and couch rot and bed rot. And I had to really pour into myself. I went and got breakfast. I sat in the sun. I meditated a little bit. I put on my auntie Anita Baker and let her move me for a few. And I got myself together. So thank you for listening to me. Don't forget to pour into yourself because you cannot pour from an empty cup. And back to you, Errol.
Thank you so much. And I just told Tay the other day, I said, I was sitting down looking at some things and I thought about having an invisible day. And I think that's something that all of us need to have at some time where we just cut everything off and we take time for us as activists because we're always on the go and people are always pulling on us. So we need that invisible day at some point in some time in our own lives. You're listening to KYOK 1140 AM and the all-new 106.5 FM. If you're on the go, you can take us with you by visiting kyokradio.org and pressing the Listen Live option. Tune in live every Thursday morning, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific on kyokradio.org, the CWA Strong app, or your preferred podcast player, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, and Amazon Music. Search for CWA Our Power on your favorite podcast player. Up next, we're going to continue our conversation where we were talking about tipping. So we're going to talk about today, tipping, who really pays the price. Good. Come on, Mikeya, get it off your chest now.
Yeah, because think about it, right? The last time we talked about this last week, and like I said, it's a continuation, but think about the last time you went out to eat, you left 15 to 20% on top of your bill, probably without a second thought because it's just, it's just natural now. And have you ever asked yourself, like, why? Why do we tip? Who decided, right? Whose idea was it that after I go out to eat, I got to pay a little bit extra on top of paying extra because I'm already out to eat? Like, who thought about that and why? And why the person serving your food doesn't get paid a living wage just outright off the bat just for having that job?
Tipping is one of those normal things we just accept. It's baked into restaurant, hotels, even gig work. But it wasn't always like this, and the history might shock you. This is normalized. This is normalized system, hidden chains, where we explore everyday systems that divide, manipulate, and exploit, all while feeling completely normal. Today, we're talking about tipping.
And did Tay say baked into? Go ahead, Tay.
So obviously, the way we're going to have this discussion, this isn't just about restaurants.
Did
It's
you hear?
about
Did you hear how his voice changed, Mikeya? So we got to get ready. Come
no,
on.
it's not just about restaurants because I don't want to mislead us here. It's given a historical a perspective and a bigger issue. It's really about labor, it's about equity, and the ways certain communities have historically borne the brunt of these systems that we, consider normal systems.
Exactly. After slavery ended, employers refused to pay Black workers a living wage. They relied on tips from white patrons to subsidize the labor, and tipping became normalized exploitation. And while we're here, I'm just going to intro y'all a little bit into where we're going with this. We have, as a society, normalized and accepted things that are rooted in oppression that we haven't even like taken the time to step back and like, you know what, this isn't right. This is wrong. So this is just one of those things that we're going to start to discuss. And this is one of those conversations maybe that we need to start having as a society, like Reginald mentioned earlier, where we're no longer normalize oppressive behaviors. Right, Errol?
You're
Tipping as a
absolutely
practice
correct.
in the United States didn't just happen naturally. It arrived after the Civil War. Some Americans traveling in Europe brought it back. Brought in the US, tipping became a tool to avoid paying Black workers fair wages. Even in Europe now, you don't see tipping. It's wild.
Yeah, and I think what happened is it just stuck. And even now, federal laws allows restaurant workers to earn less than minimum wage in some states. Well, let me just say this: here it's in Alabama, it's $2.25 an hour, and their tips are supposed to make up the difference. And it's a system. Watch me closely, that relies on generosity while putting the responsibility for fair pay on the customer.
Right. I feel like that's a microaggression, which we're also going to talk about, because how is it like that you get to decide, like you, the patron, right, get to decide what I make, what I bring home, even though I worked, restaurant workers and people and service workers, they work really long hours.
Yes.
I used to wait tables. I waited tables for 4 years. And it's not
Right.
fair because you can work and bust your behind. And you have some people who just decide they don't want to tip for no reason. I remember this guy used to come in and request my section every Saturday for the football games, for college football. And he wouldn't tip, but he would have a conversation with me, talk his head, like talk, kiki, laugh, and he wouldn't tip.
I
That
Mm.
was
just
the
love the way you
strangest
said
thing to me.
football, college football. I just
Sorry. I'm from the
College
South.
college football.
college football. I would have gave you a tip just for saying that.
Never understood it. Never understood that.
Right. So when we
Um,
tip, we're not just rewarding service. We're participating in the system that allows employers to underpay, and it disproportionately affects marginalized communities, especially women, immigrants, and people of color who make up a large portion of service jobs.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Thank you for saying that too, Mikeya. I'm sorry, Tay, I ain't mean to cross over you.
That's okay. So let's zoom out. How does tipping impact labor as a whole? For one, it creates unstable income. A worker might make $50 one night and $150 the next, depending entirely on the customer's generosity. No consistent pay, no benefits, no predictability.
can I jump in there real quick? And it could be a rainstorm because I remember I worked at a sports bar. The rain, it could rain and people wouldn't come out. It could be the holidays and people wouldn't come out. I mean, it could be anything. And it could be like a regular Friday night where you're used to making money, or a Sunday night when it's when football is on. And then somebody who nobody wants to see play is playing, and then nobody comes out. It could be, like a rain, it can snow. You just anything can mess your pay up. It's very inconsistent.
It can be a pandemic where nobody can go outside no more and
That
go to
part,
restaurants.
talk about it.
Just
And,
saying.
Or the restaurant can be out of something. They could be out of somebody's beer, or they could be out of wings or something like that that's totally out of your control. I've seen that too.
And then, there's another side to that conversation. As we're having it, we're talking more labor focused, but there's another side of it. Um, in high-end restaurants, I mean, it's a whole industry. People make really, really good livings based upon this established practice. But again, that's selective. How do you get the opportunity to work in these particular restaurants? So it's there's definitely another side from it, but as we're relating this back to labor, it definitely shifts away from labor because, of course, we not only talk about money, we are actually stand for benefits and for a future, for pensions, and for you to actually pay into a system of Social Security for a later benefit. So it's different. So employers get away by, they can justify the low base wage by saying, oh, they make good money in tips and they bear no burden. Meanwhile, workers must constantly navigate the moods of customers, back to what you're saying, Timmia, discrimination, and even harassment just to learn to earn a decent living.
And even the mood of the people that's doing the scheduling. If the managers don't like you, you're going to get the bad shifts.
Mm.
I hear a little passion in your voice. Were you scarred?
It
back in
is
those
there.
football games?
Listen, I made my money, but I can tell you some stories.
I know you can.
So
I used to get fired every week, but I'll be back though.
so that's the thing we're going to talk about is when these systems feel normal, right? People stop questioning them. We've normalized wage theft. We've normalized unpaid internships. We've normalized student debt and more. And it's always framed as personal choice and not as structural design, which it really is. So being aware is supporting fair wage policies, organizing for workers' rights, and amplifying worker voices can undo decades of systemic inequities, and labor movements are the tools to level the playing field. So the next time you leave a tip, remember the story behind it. Think about the system it represents and ask yourself who's really paying the price. You've been listening to Normalized Systems, Hidden Change on our CWA Our Power radio show. So don't forget to join us next week as we unpack another system we've come to accept to be normal. Back to you, Errol.
Thank you so much, Mikeya. Okay, come on, Reginald. I saw your hand.
I'm going to say one more thing before we wrap this. Not want you to believe, because we have given you a historical perspective, that you have a right to abuse these people's time and not leave a decent tip, because that is the system in which we are under right now. So be respectful and leave a tip, please.
Right.
All right, go ahead, Reginald,
Timmia
into
has
your spotlight.
PTSD about it.
Yeah.
All right, Reggie, it's on you. Go into your spotlight.
All right, so I enjoy the spotlight portion, and we're back to that for just a little while. So I want to start off with talking about our air traffic controllers and giving them and a couple of other people the credit they deserve. So every day, our air traffic controllers, they choreograph the invisible distance of hundreds of thousands of flights. They keep people safe in the air, guiding pilots through the storms, delays, and the kind of split-second decisions most of us couldn't even imagine making on a day-to-day basis. These are our quiet, unseen professionals, steady hands in high-pressure towers whose focus keeps tragedy from striking. But behind those headsets and radar screens lies uncertainty. Federal workers, including our air traffic controllers, have once again been left wondering if their paychecks will arrive, if their work will be valued, or if political gridlock will leave them hanging. Let's be clear. This isn't just about politics, a little bit, but not all about politics. It is definitely about people. It's about the mothers, the veterans, the fathers, and essential workers who wake up every single day to serve the public. Whether or not Congress decides to do its job, and it's not just the controllers, it's the TSA officers, the FAA techs, the Social Security clerks, and every federal worker who makes this country function. When they're unpaid, the nation feels it. When they're undervalued, we all suffer. because there's no such thing as non-essential work when it comes to the people who protect, who guide, and serve millions of us every single day. And let's not forget their union siblings in the sky, since we're talking about people who protect us. Our flight attendants of the CWA AFA, the Association of Flight Attendants, CWA. These are the frontline workers who make sure safety and compassion coexist at 30,000 feet. They're dealing with turbulence in more ways than one, protecting passengers, managing emergencies, and standing tall for fair treatment and workplace safety. From the towers to the tarmacs to the terminals, these workers form a chain of responsibility that keeps our skies safe and our economy strong. And through it all, unions like NATCA, AFGE, and CWA AFA are fighting every day for stability, respect, and a fair compensation. Imagine the stress of guiding hundreds of flights or managing hundreds of passengers while not knowing if your paycheck will come in the next week. That's not unfair. That's not just unfair, it's unsafe. Our federal and aviation workers deserve better than being used as a bargaining chip in a political power game. Unions have always stood in the gap, protecting workers' dignity, safety, and livelihood when the systems fail them. And that's what solidarity, true solidarity, actually looks like. When one group of workers is under pressure, we all stand shoulder to shoulder saying, not one more worker left behind. Not one single worker left behind. So today, every day, we honor the air traffic controllers, the federal workers, and yes, our CWA AFA flight attendants who keep America flying safe and connected. We see you, we recognize you, and we thank you. And we stand with you in the fight for fair pay, stable employment, and the respect every single worker deserves. Because when we lift each other up, no one fails. When workers rise, the nation soars. Back to you, Errol Minor.
Thank you so much, Mr. Reginald Small. And Linda J is in the studio. And if you have that caller, Linda J, go ahead and put her through. Okay, we will have that caller, and they said that they will call in on next week. So thank you so much for tuning in today. An hour is not long enough to be with you, and a week is too long to be away from you. You have been tuned into the CWA Human Rights Hour Power broadcast, and I hope something you heard today has inspired you to take action toward creating positive change in the world. Every person has the power to make a difference, no matter how small. And by working together, we can create a world where human rights are respected and valued. So I encourage each of you in the listening audience to reflect on your role in promoting human rights to effect change in your communities and beyond. Know that you are not alone in your quest for a more just and equitable world. When faced with injustice, it can easily be to lose hope and give up. But remember, justice may be slow like the truth, but when it finally comes, it will stand. Until next Thursday, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, right here on KYOK 1140 a.m. and the all-new 106.5 FM, KYOKradio.org. See you next week.